One of my favorite things to talk about on this channel is cheap video games, because I think that video games, regardless of what the general public thinks of them as being very expensive at $60 a piece, I think it can actually be a pretty cheap form of entertainment if you kind of wait a while to buy the games, you get them on sale and whatnot like I did. So I'm going to cover every game in my physical Xbox One game collection, my thoughts on it. I've played most of them, but not necessarily all of them, so there'll be some that I can't give too much input on, but only one of these did I buy full price at retail when it released, and the others I picked up later, so I think that that's going to kind of speak to maybe the staying power that some of these have. And then of course there's some games that definitely I've traded in because I haven't enjoyed, and then there's some that are in this collection that I kind of hate. So without further ado, let's get it started with Final Fantasy 15, a game that last summer I put a ton of time into. I had never completed a Final Fantasy game before. I had played Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP, which was the PlayStation 1 game remastered for the PSP, but I'd never played like a full-fledged main series Final Fantasy game, and for this being the first one that I played, I really enjoyed it. I know that it's different in terms of like the open world, the fact that there's a car you can drive around. It's different than most other Final Fantasy games, but it took, the type of things I like to see in a sandbox games, and mixed it with the very finely tuned RPG mechanics that Final Fantasy has. I definitely enjoyed the story all the way through and thought that it was just a great, fun game. Would recommend it to anybody. I know it typically goes for around $10 these days. Next up is Mass Effect Andromeda. I bought this for $3, hated it. Played it for maybe an hour. The combat seemed good, but there wasn't really much else to write home about on that. Now, WWE 2K19, I picked this up at Walmart for $5, actually relatively recently. I've been playing this a lot. I know I talked a few videos back about WWE 2K14 and how I had enjoyed that, but now I finally got one for the Xbox One. 2K19, really cool. My favorite thing about it, I think, and about WWE games in general, is just the community creation aspect, and how good the actual different creative tools are. If you want to make your own wrestlers, your own arenas, your own shows, even just a lot of different customization you can do with the WWE games. Obviously WWE 2K20, not something that I would recommend, but 19 at the price that it goes for, I think typically around $15 on eBay, is definitely worth a look if you can pick it up before May of 2020, when the servers get shut off, at which time you'll lose access to being able to download other people's creations. I know I've downloaded some just crazy stuff that people put a lot of time into making, so it's gonna be a shame when that stuff isn't able to be downloaded anymore. The next two are two games that I picked up relatively recently as part of the GameStop 4 for $20 promotion, but I think I'll enjoy them. It's Injustice 2, which I know is a game that has a ton of customization. Like I said with WWE 2K19, that's something that I really enjoy. And then Black Ops 4, which I haven't played a Black Ops game since Black Ops 3, or any Call of Duty game for that matter, and I've obviously waited this long to get into Black Ops 4. I'm sure the player base isn't nearly what it was when it first came out, but for roughly $5 that I spent on that, I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. Then Far Cry 5, which is one of two steelbooks that I have because my GameStop only happened to have the steelbook case left, so they were kind enough to give it to me. Far Cry 5, I know I've put different gameplay up of it on this channel in the past, is a game that I haven't finished, but I've really enjoyed what I've played so far. I mean, there's just so many ways to go about doing everything. For being the first Far Cry game that I ever played, I really have enjoyed it and would definitely recommend it to anybody, even if you've never played a Far Cry game before, because of course the stories aren't attached as you go through each game. I think that you can get this for $10 to $15 these days, and I think that it's definitely worth that. I know I'm probably have about 15 hours in it, and I only finished one of the 3 areas. Now, I did a lot of stuff in that area. I didn't just do the main story missions. I did a lot of the side missions in that area, but I only have one of the 3 regions complete so far. Just Cause 3, I think that if I was to compare Just Cause 3 to anything, I'd probably compare it to Far Cry 5 out of all the games in my collection. I know that Just Cause 3 has, awesome movement mechanics, and you can fly around the map in ways you can't in Far Cry 5, but I just find Far Cry 5 to be a more enjoyable game. I probably played Just Cause 3 for, maybe 5 or 10 hours, but it's nothing that I'm as excited about as Far Cry 5, for instance. And I think it's probably because the game is a little bit on the older end of the Xbox One's lifespan. You know, the game came out early on in the period, but it goes for about $5 nowadays. I think for that, it's definitely worth it. And then how about Agents of Mayhem? This is one of those games that really tells you why you shouldn't pre-order or buy games at full price. This thing tanked in price so fast, not necessarily because it's a bad game. It's mostly just a forgettable game, and one that I actually haven't taken the time to play whatsoever yet. And the same goes for Dead Rising 4. I picked this up very cheap. I was thinking I'd play it around Christmas time because that's when the game is set in like a mall around Christmas time. So maybe next Christmas I'll get around to that. That and Agents of Mayhem, two games that I'm definitely not in any rush to play, knowing that they're single player experiences and they're not going to go offline or anything like that, or I'm going to miss out on it if I don't play them right now. So those are two games that I've kind of held on to for a while and never actually got started with. Assassin's Creed Origins. A year or two ago, I got this on clearance at Target for $4, which if you don't check the electronic clearance at Target, you really should. There's always tons of great deals back there. I know recently they had like Prey for like $3, and they had the Stick of Truth for like $8, or not the Stick of Truth, but sequel for like $8. I mean, just crazy discounts, and sometimes when you see a game there, if you're back in the Target like a week or two later, it'll be cut down in price even more if it's still there. That was kind of what happened with Assassin's Creed Origins when I picked it up for $4. Not a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed games, but I will say that Origins and Odyssey, with more of the RPG elements, are definitely something that drew me in. Of course, it's going to have similarities to any Ubisoft game in its nature, because it is an Ubisoft game, but it's, nowadays I think it goes for around $10 at GameStop, and I think that for that, maybe you get it in with a promotion, it's worth it, but I would say Odyssey is definitely the better game. FIFA 18, I picked this up at Walmart for $2 on clearance. I know it's an older sports game, but like for $2, I couldn't really pass it up for that. It's a soccer game, not something that I'm hugely excited about, but I guess nice to have in the collection anyway, since I do enjoy sports games in general. Tom Clancy's The Division 2. This was selling brand new for $5 for the longest time. I know it even went on a digital sale on the Xbox One for $3. I played straight through this game. I didn't play anything else during like the 2 weeks that I was playing straight through this game. Really enjoyed it. Fantastic game, and I just love the looting mechanics of it and the different stuff you can unlock. And I felt the same way about Destiny, but I way more prefer the Division 2's gameplay in comparison to Destiny's. And then Kingdom Hearts 3. I think I waited. I figured I'd waited so long, from the last Kingdom Hearts game I had played, which was Birth by Sleep, to even play Kingdom Hearts 3, that, I just said, I'm just going to wait for it to hit $20. That's when I'm going to buy it. I bought it when it hit $20. I think now it's maybe around $15, maybe even less on eBay. And I was kind of disappointed, honestly. I liked like the Toy Story world, and I thought that was neat and all, but I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy it, and it felt weird playing it on an Xbox platform because I don't own a PlayStation 4, but I played all the previous games on a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 2 or a PSP. It felt weird, and it wasn't really, I guess didn't live up to the hype and the expectations that I had, having waited so long for it. And then the Rare Replay collection. There doesn't come a better bang for your buck on the Xbox One than the Rare Replay collection, because some of you may have gotten it for free when you purchased your console, and if not, it is less than $10 at GameStop, on eBay. And of course, with that, you're getting 30 classic Rare games. It doesn't include GoldenEye or the Donkey Kong game that came out of the N64, because of course that's a licensing issue. But there's some great games in here. I'm talking like N64 era and older games, as well as some that released on the Xbox and the Xbox 360. So there's definitely a lot of things to enjoy in there. And if you're into getting achievements, there's a ton of achievements you can capture through that. And then the game that I paid full price for, the full retail $60 price, the only one in this pile. You'd think it must be the best game in this pile. It's Madden 19. I don't know if that's going to be the last Madden that I buy for the foreseeable future. I made a video a few months ago about how Madden 19 has basically a really cool 20-year franchise you can play through, simulating basically the last 20 years of NFL history that somebody has made and shared online that I had downloaded. Really enjoyed playing that, but just the general gameplay just hasn't really improved much from year to year, and that's why I'm not going to be buying probably another Madden game on the Xbox One. We'll see if it improves going into the next console. Usually that's never the case, so that probably won't help at all. But of course I like playing like All Pro Football 2K8 on the Xbox 360, and there's other, professional football games that I play alternatively. One of them being Mutant Football League Dynasty Edition for the Xbox One. This goes for around $10. I know it's kind of obscure, so if you're looking at getting it in your GameStop, they might not actually have it in stock, but of course you can find it online. This is, think of like NFL Blitz, an updated version of that, not using real players, but using parodies of real players and parodies of the teams. So you can really tell what players are who because they are parodies, but they're all mutants, so they don't look like their proper likeness. Anyways, really cool game. I played through the Dynasty mode, and you slowly upgrade your team, make them be better and better through sort of, weak RPG style mechanics. It was worth playing through for, 1 year of the Dynasty. I'm not going to go for like the achievement that's like play 5 years of the Dynasty, because, once you get your team upgraded to a certain degree, it seems like it gets almost too easy maybe. But it was definitely a fun game, and I definitely got my money's worth out of it. And then the last one, something that I recommend to so many people, Shadow of War, the sequel to Shadow of Mordor. I never even played Shadow of Mordor, but man, did I love Shadow of War and recruiting my own little guys to fight for me. Then they would turn on other people, and there's just so much more to this than being an action-adventure game because of the inclusion of the Nemesis system and the way you can, recruit people, or you can decide to, take them out, and just, these different factions that develop. I absolutely love that. The surprise encounters, and the fact that they might decide to turn on you. There's just so much with the Nemesis system that I think that makes Shadow of War be a truly unique game and a unique experience. And with that, I'm so glad that I got the Gold Edition for $6 in the Steelbook case at Best Buy. That's probably one of the best deals out of this entire pile, and that was, of course, because they were coming out with like a Game of the Year edition, which was effectively the same as the Gold Edition, but for whatever reason, they discontinued the Gold Edition and replaced it with that, and I think maybe even took away the Steelbook, so that's really neat to have, and definitely one of my favorite deals out of this entire pile. But that's my whole Xbox One physical game collection, and again, a lot of these games relatively inexpensive if you want to check them out for yourself. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I will see you in the next video.